Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney. On this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answer they need from an employment attorney. Like, subscribe, comment down below. It helps me to help more people just like you. We have a question here from John Doe EKCK, spelled in a very phonetic fashion. I love it. And the question is as follows. In a hypothetical scenario where, say, a $2.2 million settlement, just throwing out numbers, is reached, does your firm, if the client wants it, negotiate structured settlements so that while the client still has to pay taxes, the burden is spread out over the life of an annuity? Okay, so if that's something you want, you can ask for it in negotiations. Now, it's very, very common for defendants, employers, to split up a payment over 2 years or push it into next year for tax purposes for a prospective plaintiff, right? That happens relatively commonly, and certainly something we achieve for clients pretty routinely. You said the word annuity here, which makes me think that you're talking about a much longer payment horizon, right? That's going to be very unlikely for the employer to want to agree to. You can always ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. You can ask me any question you can accept the answer to, just like I used to tell my little brother when he would ask me if he can respectfully hit on women. And I would say, you can ask her out as long as you can accept the answer, right? And by the same token, you can ask. My cat is being very vocal. I don't know if the mic is picking that up. My cat is just actively complaining. She feels I should go feed her right now. You can ask to spread out your payments over a long payment horizon if you want. I think most employers would decline. I think most employers are eager to be done with the entire process by the time they're settled. Right, they're pretty frustrated. They're pretty angry, and they want to be done. Listen, I'm not excusing them for anything they did. They got themselves in the mess, right? It's their fault they're in this litigation, but their perspective is they just want to pay and be done, right? So I don't know if they're going to agree to an annuity-style payment system, but you can always ask. And if the answer is no to an annuity, but yes to we'll pay over 2 years, well, you've still potentially benefited if that helps you in terms of your tax consequences, right? So listen, I always recommend speak to a tax professional who's experienced in handling specifically employment settlements. They are a little bit different than personal injury or med mal, right? And it's something where a little bit of expertise and experience will go a long, long way. People get bad advice all the time, like, I don't have to pay taxes on my employment settlement. That's not accurate. You don't have to pay taxes on the portion the law firm you hired receives, but you will eventually have to pay taxes on every portion of your employment settlement, although it is split, right? The emotional damages are treated a little bit differently than the economic damage. The economic damages are often going to be paid on a W-2. And the IRS very actively pays attention to these settlements because the IRS loves auditing and getting lots of money off of plaintiffs who settle their cases and make fat checks and then don't pay taxes. So yes, you are correct to be thinking ahead. I hope you can arrange experienced tax representation. Our firm cannot, of course, give you tax advice. We're not a tax firm. But certainly, it makes sense to have an accountant or a tax professional who knows what they're doing in terms of this kind of settlement, right? And the answer is generally yes, right? Now, if you're asking if we structure settlements, like if there would be some kind of, because the way you phrase it is, does your firm negotiate structured settlements? So negotiate, yes. If you're asking if we create a vehicle to pay out over time, no, we're certainly not capable of doing that. That would be a complex fiscal product, which I assume a variety of compliance requirements would go into under both federal and state blue sky laws, right? I can only imagine. I can only imagine how eager so many regulators would be to get a hold of me if I started creating such fiscal products. But I don't think that's what you're asking. I think you're asking, can it be negotiated with the defendant? Yes. I mean, do keep in mind, though, that you're exposing yourself to some risk of certain employers going bankrupt over time. Like if they have a payout over like a decade and then, the market changes. Let's say you got a settlement with Apple, right? It's the richest company in the world today, I think. But let's say we get in a scuffle with China over Taiwan tomorrow. Apple's not getting any more iPhones. Not for a while. So they go from the richest company in the world to they have nothing to sell. It's not like Apple TV is doing well, as far as I know. I mean, they have one show, Ted Lasso, right? Ted Lasso, so good, so good. So I don't think Apple would go bankrupt, but there's some risk of that if they don't have a single product in the world to sell. And in that hypothetical, what happens? Well, they go bankrupt and you don't get paid. So there is some tension there. When you're structuring, you want to be certain that this employer is actually going to be there and liquid and good for the funds, right? But yeah, I certainly understand what you're trying to do, and that is certainly in the realm of possible, and even potentially in the realm of probable. Good question. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Helps me to help more people just like you. And remember, almost everybody works. Not everybody wins. Be smart out there.